everyone! Chapter 7, Quadratics. This is Learning Target 4. This is Miss Osier.
And Miss Lahar.
And here we go. I love completing the square.
Yes, this is a review topic. You guys learned about this in 9th grade, but if it was bad, we decided to redo it one more time just to make sure that you remember.
But to be clear, you also did it last year in geometry when you were doing circle equations, so don't act like you haven't seen this before.
Done.
I'll hurt you.
Okay?
Here are your steps.
Divide out the first term by A, move the constant term over to the other side, complete the square in the equation, and balance it, simplify, and solve.
So last year, we would talk a lot. Oh, wait, perfect square trinomials. We're talking about those.
Well, this was just so that when we say complete the square, this is what happens. You get two binomials that are the same thing, so you can complete the square, which makes it x plus 2 quantity squared.
And that's our goal.
That's a perfect squared trinomial when you can rewrite it in x plus whatever quantity squared.
So I'm hoping this looks familiar, because this is last year where we would say put your y's together, leave a space. Put your x's together, leave a space. So right now we're just going to practice filling in the space.
Completing that perfect square.
Do you remember how to do it?
Half b squared.
Half
C squaresies. Oh,
half C squaresies. Shout out to Tyler Phillips. You can tell him we said his name out loud.
Yep.
32 divided by 2.
Half b term and square it.
And then square it. Which is what, 256? Oh, yeah.
256, well played. And then writing it as a perfect square trinomial is the x plus 16, x plus 16, so x plus 16 quantity squared.
This is the point.
That's the point you want to get to. When you take half of b, that's your term that's going to go in your binomial.
Yeah. All right, take a deep breath, guys, because fractions are a thing, and you will have to be able to do it. You do have a calculator, though. Mm-hmm. Okay.
You can write, you should write in fractions, people. Don't write decimals, it looks funky.
Don't you do it.
But half of 21 is just 21 over 2.
Yep.
21 over 2 squared is just 21 squared, which is 441. And 2 squared is 4.
Boom.
That's it.
That's it.
You're going to have to be aware to work with them.
You're going to need to be able to do fractions.
Here we go.
Oh, my goodness. Get your x's together, leave a space. Put everything else on the other side, and leave a space.
Okay.
Fill the space in.
Half z squaresies. Halves of 16 is 8. 8 squared is 64. So as you can see, 64 pops up.
It has to go on both sides because it is an equation, and if you add to one side, you must add to the other.
Yep.
In geometry, we had x's and y's. It's just x's. It's just one variable.
Oh, we'll hit circles.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
So x plus 8 quantity squared. That's completing the square. 99 plus 64 is 163. Now solve.
The entire reason we did that is so we could solve. So you can either raise it to the half or take the square root, whatever makes more sense to you. I like to take the square root.
Yep. So on the left, you'll just get x plus 8. On the right, you'll get plus and minus.
Don't forget the plus or minus.
Plus or minus. 163. And then you just subtract 8 over, and there's your answer. Exact answer, too.
Exact answer.
And you cannot simplify the square root of 163. But if you can, you should.
Yep. Correct.
And there's one example.
Look at us go.
Ooh,
okay. Here we go. Now, does everyone see that there's a number in front of the x squared?
Well, yes, because I highlighted it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was good.
You're welcome. So, that does not work out so hot with completing the square.
Nope.
So we got to deal with that bad boy. Now, we don't divide it out, we factor it out. If you don't understand the difference, when you factor it out, it's still there. When you divide it out, it divides out.
Yeah. We can't do that. So you first move your constant term over. So I moved the negative or the positive 15 over by subtracting it, and then I took out the 5 from my first 2 terms.
Okay.
And that looks like that.
And then we still have the blank over here too. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4.
Okay.
Oh, there's the blank. Okay.
Now.
Whoa, hold on.
Why do I have 20 over there?
What just happened?
Well, because we took out a 5, you still have to remember that I would have to distribute that 5, so that 4 is really a 20, so that's why we added 20 over.
Because this is an equal equation, so it's not 4, it's actually 20.
Yep, so just be aware of that. Then you still same steps. Now you can complete the square, which is x plus 2 quantity squared, divide by 5.
That's a coincidence. That won't always happen and be pretty.
Yep.
Plus or minus 1.
There it is. And then you subtract 2 over. Now, don't leave it like this, because if you can actually evaluate it, you should evaluate it. What is negative 2 plus 1?
Well, that's negative 1.
What is negative 2 minus 1?
Negative 3.
Those are your 2 answers.
Woo! Look at us go.
That's how you solve completing the square.
Okay, we're going to skip number 3 for now. Why? Because trust us. Okay? We're going to go back to it.
Yep. So go to 4. This
Get
is number 4.
all your x's on one side, leave a space.
Yep.
Put everything else on the other side, leave a space.
Now this was nice because when I moved that 5x squared term over, I lost my coefficient in front of x squared. But you still would move your 67 over.
But don't get too excited yet, because what's 3 divided by 2?
Oh God, 3 halves.
3 halves.
What's 3 halves squared? 3 squared is 9, 2 squared is 4, so 9/4 is going to go over. Oh my God, they're fractions.
Okay. Take a breath, everybody. Take a breath. you know how to deal with fractions, number one. Number two, you have a calculator that manipulates fractions for you.
Yep.
So let's be honest, you're fine right now.
So when we complete the square on the left side, it would be x minus the 3 halves. Remember, when you take the half of b, that's what goes in there. You add 67 and 9/4, it does give you 277 over 4. I like the 4. I don't like the 277, but whatever.
It's going to be fine. Okay, we're going to take the square root. Now, the reason she was saying she likes the 4 is because now this part you need to understand. The calculator is not going to do this part for you.
Yep.
When you take the square root of a fraction, it's the exact same thing as taking the square root of the top and taking the square root of the bottom. Look at those magical things coming in. It's perfect, okay?
Yep. Square root of 4, you can evaluate. You can have a 2.
Yeah.
So then you would just add your 3 halves over, and there's your answer. You cannot simplify the square root of 277 either. There's no perfect square that can go into it, because you always can.
Yep. If you could, you would.
All right, so that was 4. So that did give us a fractional idea. Yep. Now, number 3 is probably your hardest example, and almost too hard, but we're going to show it to you.
Because heaven forbid it's on the Regents exam. We want to make sure we've shown you what you need to see.
Yep.
Okay.
So don't be scared.
We will not give you one this hard for us.
Yep.
Okay. Get all your variables on one side, and put everything else on the other side.
Okay, so I added 7p and I added 32, so now I'm looking at this. So now you do still need to take out that 5.
Ooh, yeah.
7/5 in the middle.
What just happened? Okay, so again, we took out a 5. When we take the 5 out from the p squared, that's no problem. I can't take a 5 out of a 7, but if I write it as 7/5, I can, because that's essentially what happened.
Okay, now we have to take half of 7/5, so I hope when Miss Osher clicks,
take a deep breath, everybody. Take a deep breath.
So you take half, you divide it by 2, and out pops 7/10.
Boom.
So now we have to square 7/10. That's just going to be 49 over 100.
Okay. Take a breath. Pause right now if you need to. Everything is fine. You are okay. So, at this point, we need to remember that on the right side.
Oh my God, I didn't shoot. Because this comes out really nice. Darn it!
You know what you need to remember is that if you get to here, you should be like, there's an error right there, and we're going to talk about it in class and go over this wonderful example together in class, and then we're not going to confuse you anymore. So right now, the reason Miss Lahart is like, is because we should have multiplied the 5 times the 49 hundredths, which would have given us 20 on the bottom. So this would be 49 20ths. And then we would have had to go from there. Now, we're going to go over this in class because everything else is going to go off of that answer. So we're just going to stop here, okay? So if you can get here, that was step 1 because that's a rough concept. We will go over everything else in class. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you later.
Miss Aunt Lahart is angry at herself right now.